Welcome back, everybody, to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Berenice.
And I'm Ella. Oh my gosh, Berenice, live from Mexico.
What the fuck is up? I'm in Oaxaca right now. I landed a few hours ago. And honestly, a little bit of a culture shock. I'm not going to lie. I am not going to lie. There's been some things about Mexico that I was like, I've totally forgot about that in 18 years. But I'm here. I'm vibing. I'm super happy. I'm with my family that I haven't seen in like forever. So I couldn't be honestly more grateful. So
I know, a lot of emotions. Honestly, I'm happy that you just get a little vacation family time in a homecoming. There's a long homecoming coming. It's been coming for a long time, so that's
it has
exciting.
Been. Yeah, there's been lots of emotions. The first thing I noticed when I got off the plane was actually the smells. It smells pretty bad. Like Mexico City smells pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'll be so transparent about that. But the thing is, it was so familiar. The stank was familiar, and I was like, oh my god, holy shit, yeah, I'm home. And then the reason I came back was for my uncle's memorial. He passed away in July, but basically a bunch of family members came out for his memorial. So it was like a really weird get together because obviously we don't want those circumstances to be the reason like why people got together, but it was also like the reason why I got to see so much of my family at once since everybody kind of like moved away from Mexico City. So just been a lot of crying while eating for some reason,
Whatever, babes.
The food, something about food just really brings out the tears. So it's a sob over breakfast, sob over dinner, sob over a nice little snack of a taco. It's just a sob. But we're good now. There we got a pep in our step. I feel healed,
Good.
Yeah.
Oof. Healed is a good word to describe the experience.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
Oh, the usual. So what have I been up to? Well, let's start with a highlight. So this week, once you hear this episode, I will have it's a gay variety show that is happening at Hereafter in Seattle on Thursday, February 15th. And Hereafter is downtown. So if you're in the Seattle area, hit me up. I'll send you a link, but the link is also in my bio on my Instagram. So I'm really excited about that show. It's with Richie Amarni, who is like a dope human being who we've had on the podcast a bunch. So I'm really excited about that. Sad news. My grandma tutor, Doreen Tudor, passed away on the 6th at 101 and a half. And you know what? It's been a trippy experience because it's like, I don't know. I think you lose anyone who's close to you, and it's just kind of like emotional. But I think for me, it was just like, I don't know. It's an odd experience because a lot of the people that I've lost in the past, like I wouldn't say I'm like close to, or that I'm old enough to like understand the concept of death. And she was doing like so good per se up until her death. Like a lot of people, when they lose people at 101, they've lost their minds and bodies, but my grandma was still very much with it. Me and her were kikiing, hee ha-haing about like the day before she passed away. So I don't know, it was trippy. So that's what I've been dealing with, and that's such a weird experience now that I'm like getting older. It's like a lot more people are dying, which makes me sad, but it makes me happy to like come on the podcast because I feel like so much of like my wisdom is just like her wisdom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So much of how I look at the world and think about the world is from my grandma. So, I guess it's like cool to have a podcast. Like my grandma couldn't have a podcast. They didn't have podcasting when she was 30, but I do. And that's kind of beautiful.
That is very true.
Yeah.
There's lots of news. Pour one out. Pour one up for the Hobie.
Yeah, I was thinking about the quote. Like, I remember this like devastating moment with me and Berenice after the 2016 election, and President Obama was like, you know what? The sun goes down, the sun comes up, and it's a new day. The world keeps on turning. And I was like, that's so crazy because the world just keep going, babes. Don't stop for nobody.
No. It really does not stop for nobody. No. You'll just get a little surprised by surprise. Actually, this is something funny. I had a tattoo that says like life gives you surprises. And sometimes it's like ironic, you know what I mean? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that was kind of surprising. Not in a good way.
Yeah, you know, you're like, well, that is depends. It's all perception, baby. Surprises. There's happy surprises, and then there's scary surprises. There's infidelity surprises. All kinds of surprises in life. You know. Well, maybe we'll do a surprises episode in the future. But I'm excited for this episode. I'm in good spirits overall. It's just like a little sad. You know, you're like in your sad girl era. You're in your comfy sweater, long walks. And honestly, I know this is going to sound so weird, but I didn't realize how depressing some of the music I listen to is because I haven't like, because I just listen to it. I'm like jamming out to these sad ass songs. And I don't have anything really to be sad about. And then when I'm actually sad, I'm like, damn, bitch, you listen to this shit on repeat all the time. Like, maybe we got to pick up. So I've been listening to a lot of house music, a lot of non-lyrics, house upbeat music. Because I was like, you know what? When you're listening to Lana and you're in a good headspace, everything's good. But then when you're like not in a good headspace, Lana's like the last thing you need to listen to.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I feel that very deeply.
Yeah.
Well, right. That's life. And that's life.
Tis life. It is what life. It is.
I know. But today we're actually going to be talking about life things as well. You know, things that we have chosen to discontinue.
It's off the shelves.
It's off the shelves. We decided that is no more. Should we get into the episode?
Let's do it. I was thinking about discontinued products because, you know, they're always discontinuing good products. But honestly, I'm thinking about stuff that I'm just like discontinuing out of my life. One of them that I'm like doing recently and has been like a radical change for me is like, dude, I discontinue anything after the free trial. Okay. I don't even complete the free trial before I decided this is discontinued. I go right in and cancel it as soon as I sign up for the free trial because I'll fucking forget and then I'll just keep paying. And that's just discontinued. I cannot be paying money because I forget when free trials end.
Yeah. No, you're right. And the thing is, I always get got. Like, I am the person that they're targeting with those free trials, you know?
Yeah.
I know.
It's like, they know. Like, they're making money off of people forgetting stuff, and I'm number one forgetter. So, yeah, we're discontinuing trial memberships. Honestly, I gotta discontinue subscriptions on so much shit. You guys know, you listen to the podcast. I lose interest and gain interest so quickly. I've also discontinued signing up for year-long memberships of things.
Yeah.
Because it comes back around and I realize that it's, oh my God, I paid for a year of this and now I paid for a second year and I totally don't even use that anymore.
I mean, so here's what I got to say, because I've been around you where you make these type of decisions where you like, from an economic standpoint, your decision makes sense, okay? Because sometimes we'll be like rock climbing or bouldering or whatever. You're like, well, I should get like a 10 pass or like whatever rather than like just try it out this one time, because if I like it, then I'll come back and technically it'll be cheaper in the long run, which that makes sense if you're like committed to it. However, the fall through is where you know, like
I still got like 8. I've only gone rock climbing twice.
Yeah.
But those never expire, so that one makes a little bit more sense. But the yearly subscription, oh my God, I'm literally like, fuck. Okay, well, now I just had like a yearly reminder that I need to get back into a couple hobbies for the next year.
Let me use all the resources I already have paid for. Mm-hmm. They are included, not free, included. Yeah. That's a good one, actually. I had not thought about that. I have a few subscriptions that I don't even know the passwords to, so I don't even know how to cancel them at this point. I think right now, one of my cards, like, I lost it and I got a replacement, and I was like, oh, thank God. Because
God, yes.
I did not have the password for any of these things, so now it discontinued on its own. And I can't even cancel my subscription. They're like, update your payment. I can't do it. I literally can't do it.
honestly, this is the whole thing, is people have been reaching out to me because I got the only like bad thing that happened to me while I was in Thailand is that I got my debit card stuck in an ATM machine, right? And
Oh,
I was
sus.
gonna it was really bad, but like honestly, they were like, okay, well, you have to fill out this form and then come back in like 48 hours and we'll give you your card. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna cancel that card, send a new one. I have been getting all these emails of people being like, you owe us money. And I'm like, no, I don't actually owe you money though, because I'm not using the service. So we're just gonna say it's canceled.
We're done.
Done.
We're done with that.
We're
Cancel
over.
it.
We're discontinued. Bye. Nice knowing you.
An Irish goodbye. Yeah. Yeah. Some other things that I believe, we need an Irish goodbye to. It's people in general. Some people, it's okay to do an Irish goodbye with. I am not a fan of second chances anymore, mainly because people have proven to me that not a lot of people like to change. At least not like back to back. I think the best thing you could do is let go of somebody, let them grow up without you, and then maybe if they return into your life, that's a different circumstance. But I'm a one and done girly. Your contract's been revoked. We talked about plots. We talked about season changes. I think it's totally okay to rewrite the next season, even if you already have the next season plotted, even if you have trips booked with people. Snip, snip. Just tear up those pages. Rewrite the whole thing. Go alone. Discontinued. We cannot longer hold this contract.
And some of the best TV shows, they cut out your favorite character and you're like, how is this story going to go on without this person? And they make it work. Okay. And you should do that in
It's
life.
fine.
Just cut
Yeah.
out like and then rewrite. Okay. A cut and a rewrite.
Yeah. Sometimes we forget that it's okay for people to grow without us. It's okay to take a little breaky from people. You can still be vocal about how much you care about somebody and not exactly think that they're the best fit for your life or you are for theirs at the moment, you know?
Well, but Berenice says this thing that's somewhat related, but like hell is an individual destination.
I say that?
Do you? We've said that.
You
But
know why I say that? I only say that I say that about abortion. I'm like, why you worry about me? Like, it is an individual destination, all right? Don't worry about me going to hell, worry about yourself.
But I would like to say there's like a Venn diagram when it comes to like you and someone's relationship. And a lot of people are trying to close that Venn diagram to be a circle, but it never will be. There's just things people are going to have to deal with like on their own, and they're going to have to go on like individual journeys. So let them, whatever that journey takes them. And it might take them a while. My mama always told me if people are meant to be, they'll come back into your life when like, if a relationship is meant to happen, it'll happen. But guess
Yeah.
what? It never happens because it was never meant to be, babes.
No. And then other things happen where you realize, like, I'm glad that worked out the way it did. You know what I mean? Some people just have to learn how to be in your life without you. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that somebody is out there maybe preparing your future best friend, your future whatever, to be like the right person in your life for you?
Honestly, I had a joke about this that I swear to God, I hated like training other people's husbands. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I have shaped so many men in this world. I'm being so dead honest because I've given a lot of tough love, a lot of constructive feedback. And I see people, some of my exes like in relationships getting married, and I'm like, well, I'm happy that we both put in a little bit of work so that you were marryable, dude. But that's neither here nor there.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Mitch.
From afar. Yeah.
Okay, another thing I think is that needs to be discontinued is high-end grocery stores. Okay, I don't understand paying more for the same thing. It's so confusing to me.
Yeah.
And I just would like to say that, like, if all these high-end grocery stores were like paying people living wages and things, I would maybe feel differently about it. But no, Winco, Costco have great benefits, some of the best pay in like the grocery industry, one of the best places to work. Also the cheapest places to shop. Okay, count your days, high-end grocery stores, because I don't want to pay more for the same thing. In this economy, it's silly.
It is silly. There are a lot of products in other grocery stores. I do get the pizzazz, what's attractive about say a Whole Foods, a PCC, whatever. But if you really think about it, like mostly working in like retail and merchandising, there's a lot of things that like aren't that different. Like people always tell you like don't buy food off of like discounted stores. I'm gonna tell you how that all works. Like, yes, it's technically it's gonna be a stock. They're deals that people make out of inventory, but you get those same deals in another store. This is just like, oh, basically like Safeway, Winco, whatever, already bought a certain amount, and we overbought X amount, or we manufactured X amount more. Who the fuck are we gonna sell this to? And that's what ends up at like Family Dollar, at the dollar store. That's essentially it. It's not like a lesser item or like an item that's like necessarily already bad. It's just like extra inventory that's sold at a lesser value. And that's how you get what you get. In a lot of places, even in New York, it's like if you pay cash, things are cheaper just because there's fees in credit cards. So like sometimes you have to think about that. Like it's not necessarily the fact that it's bougie, it's kind of a facade. So, you know, like if you want to be bougie, whatever, live your life. But technically, some things are not necessarily like better than others. Also, like there's a ton of brands that are sold in like Whole Foods and bougier grocery stores that are like super fucked up to the environment. Like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, if you think you're doing your part by shopping at higher end grocery stores, like you might not actually be doing that.
But yeah, that was my thing, is that like, you know, sometimes obviously like especially when it comes to, well, not always. Sometimes in fashion in the garment industry, if you're paying more, it might equate to better working conditions. That's not always true for the grocery store. So, you know, be careful where you're spending your dollar. I'm not spending more for the same shit, okay? That's just
Period.
me.
Period. Discontinued.
Discontinued.
Discontinued. Along with this is like fashion labels with as an excuse for like lack of style. Okay, just because you buy a brand does not mean you actually have style. I will say that. And you don't always have to buy brands to have style. Because I know some people that have like the most money in the world, and I'm like, and you chose that. That's what you chose to spend thousands of dollars on, when you have people getting creative with it. You know what I mean? Like you can
Yeah.
find a good pair of pants anywhere. Like you can go thrifting if that's your resources. You can find it at a little boutique by your house. Like hashtag shop local. Okay. Um, but essentially that doesn't like equate to you having a good sense of style. It's just by throwing a brand on it. Sometimes I've seen people so saturated in a brand that I'm like, that's that's what you're about. That's all you have to say about yourself with your fashion. On to the next. Discontinued. Let's be a little more creative. Okay?
Have you seen Mean Girls the musical?
I haven't yet.
Okay, so let me just say this. I didn't even put this on the list, but this is discontinued. Some of y'all are such fucking haters. I cannot believe it. People, the Mean Girls musical got so much hate, right? And so I didn't go to it thinking, oh, like, I don't want it ruined, because I really liked the stage performance. So I don't want it to be ruined if it's this bad. Oh my god, I went to it and I was like, you bitches on TikTok, it literally just like to hate on shit. And one of the critiques that somebody was saying was like, oh, the costuming sucked. And I went in being like, this is gonna suck. But do you know Janice from the Mean Girls?
Yeah.
I swear they might have you on their lookbook, because she was rocking so many things that I felt like was so you. Her eye makeup. No, she did a lot of eye makeup looks that were like a lot of the stuff that you wear on a daily, but also at raving. And then she was using textures in a way that I was like, oh yeah, it was like something Berenice would do, with like mixing textures and stuff. And I was like, oh man, she is I love that. But people were hating on it. They were like, that's not what she would look like. That's not goth enough. That's not this. That's not that.
I think she was never necessarily meant to be like God. She was just like alternative, which is like kind of like the vibe that is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, discontinued is allowing to see things as they are for what they are. Like not everything is meant to be compared. All right, not people, not
Mm.
things. This is the issue with so many things, I think, in life, with like the problems with the Little Mermaids and the Snow Whites of the like the movies and all this shit, is like Stop trying to compare one thing to the other. They're not supposed to be the same. If it was the same, they would have kept the same goddamn movie. This is new. This is different. We don't have to compare and contrast fucking everything. Same thing with people, okay? Like, if one person does one thing, that is who they are. If a person does something else, that is who they are. And I think like taking people as they are, being like, oh, that's a unique person. Do I vibe with this person? Not compared to like, do they fit in with your friend group? Do they, match? Blah 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 blah. Sometimes it's really just about like enjoying something, just for enjoyment.
Yeah. Enjoy life, babes.
You can like Mean Girls the musical, and you can like Mean Girls the movie.
And you can
That's
also
allowed.
critique it and still enjoy it.
Yeah, as entities of their own.
Hmm.
Correct. Okay. Another one that I would say discontinued is not speaking up. You gotta state your piece about a lot of things. Speak up about how much you care about people.
Mm.
Now, some of us get a little, including myself. I used to be a little more, let's say, a little scared to tell people how I felt. But now I'm just like, oh my god, I love you. I love you so much, and here's how I feel. And I think it's worth it to speak up and let people know how you make them feel, even if it's not necessarily. I don't think you should expect anything back when you speak up, because people are going to surprise you. Okay, life gives you surprises. But stating how you feel at least allows them to know where you're coming from and what they want to do with that.
I've been doing this thing where when I think of someone, I just shoot the text off instead of like, oh, I was just
Overthinking
thinking of you.
it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
shoot the text off. Hey, I was just thinking of you. Hope you're doing good. Or oh, I just was remembering of this. Hope you're chilling. I've been doing that more than trying to be like, oh, like let me text this person to schedule a FaceTime. I'm just shooting off text like, hey, I was thinking of you. And honestly,
Yeah.
if I don't get anything back, cool. But at least I told that person that I had them in my thoughts.
And you never know what the outcome of that is going to be. Like I had with coming to Mexico, I've been like very vocal on social media about it, just because I don't know, like it's a really tough year. I think election wise and like world wise, I think it's gonna get rough.
Mm.
And during like the last big election where Trump got elected, I felt super lonely. Mostly like I was obviously in a place like it was surrounded by white people. But I was like, maybe sharing my experience, like does something for somebody or whatever. And I've been getting a lot of like just feedback and building a community with like other undocumented people that have gone through the same thing or are still going through their own processes. And that has been really good. But also I got reached out by like this girl that I used to be friends with in high school. We had a falling out. We're no longer friends. I never had like a good aftertaste of her. But she literally just sent me a message and she was like, hey, like, I know how much this means to you. Like, I just want to say, like, I'm so happy for you. Like, I hope it's okay that I message you, whatever. And something about that, I didn't even like realize that maybe I was still holding on to something like don't talk to me type of vibe. I just let it fucking go. I was just like,
Mm.
oh my God, like, thank you. Like, even if there was bad blood in the past and I was weird enough to still hold on to it, the fact that like she sent me a message just generating like, hey, good energy, I'm happy for you. I was like, oh, we don't have to be besties, but like, good vibes. Like that's cool. And it meant a lot to me. So
That is
you
so
never
cool.
know.
I mean, I
Yeah.
love that. And something that you were saying about like putting yourself out there to build community, I would honestly put on like my discontinued is like not engaging in your community. I don't know, like I think I've been making a very conscious effort to be present in what's the fuck's in front of me and just mindfulness more of like what's going on like in front of me seems really weird. But like I think sometimes I like go out into the world and like I'm focused on like everything but like what's right in front of me. And so I've been really trying to like work on engaging with my community and specifically like with like retail workers, service workers, like people that make my life go really smoothly because there's so many people that are participating in like my life that are kind of like invisible sometimes because I don't really
Yeah.
not everyone thinks about it. And it's so strange because I've gotten such I don't want to say weird reactions, but like me engaging with some of the people that are in my community, people have been like, "Oh my god, you're like the nicest person. Like you're our favorite customer because you're always like so nice to everyone that works here and ask them how their day's going. And I was like, that's so crazy to me that like you guys have been talking about how nice I am when I've just like been trying to like say hello to people and ask them how they are. And it's really helped me in like trying to build community and just stop being so like anonymous in my life where I'm just like kind of going through the motions and not engaging with anyone but my anxiety, you know?
Yeah.
That's discontinued. So I'm trying to engage with real human beings and not the voices in my head.
You know, same. The voices. Yeah, there's a lot of if you overthink a lot, I'm discontinuing the overthinking. I'm letting things play out. Sometimes we get like so flustered in our own thoughts, including myself. I will really think about a situation and when I should really just like let go and let's see how it goes type of thing. I think that you can proceed with caution and use your best judgment. Obviously, trust your gut, trust the lessons that you've learned from past experiences as those things do pop back up in your life, and trust that those things are going to play out exactly as they did in the past if your response does not change. But there's only so much that you can do, right? And you cannot control what other people are going to do. So you might as well just like take it day by day and hopefully worry about you and how you're doing. That's the only thing that you can really fucking do. And, you know, trust your instincts with people. I think that that's the biggest one. The discontinued is do not like doubt yourself, especially with others. And if you feel like somebody, if you get an inkling that somebody is like kind of not your vibe, I'd suggest you get away from that person. The sooner the better, or you will find out why you felt that way to begin with eventually.
Yeah, it always comes back around now, doesn't it? For better or worse.
Yeah.
I always think it's funny when people used to tell me, like, in college, they're like, oh my God, like, you're always so right about people. Like, you know, like, it's, you always call it when someone is shady. And I'm like, no, here's the thing. You see how it's not that hard to tell how a person is. You just look at how they treat everyone, not just you.
Yeah.
And that was my hugest issue with people is that like they would be a bitchy fucking like just a really rude inconsiderate person to people they do not like, and then they're just a different person with people that they like. To me, how you treat the worst person in your life is like a better representation of who you are than how you treat like the best person in your life. So
Yeah.
that's
You're
how I
not the
felt about it.
exception.
Yeah.
You're just unfortunately, this might be harsh, but like I say this with a lot of things. Like people will be nice or interested at their convenience. Once you stop being convenient to somebody, they will treat you how they treat other people. All right.
Yeah.
So just like keep that in mind.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, a couple other things that are discontinued. Okay, my so I'm on a health journey. Not really. I'm just trying to like make sure that my self care is like A1 because everything falls apart if I'm not taking care of myself. But yo, I feel like green juices, green powders are full of shit. But I like to do I like to do research before I like speak on something. You know, I like to be a little educated. I read this book. It's called I think it's pronounced Ika. I actually don't. I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like Ikagaya. It's a Japanese term for like purpose in life, and it correlates directly with like centenarians, which is people that live over 100. And for people that don't know, it's like one in like I think 1 in 10,000 people live to be 100, but in Osaka, Japan, it's like 23 in 10,000 people. So they have like 230 times more people that live to be 100. And so they did a lot of studies on like how they live their life. Let me tell you, not one of them said green juices or green powders, okay?
It's a hoax.
Not a single one, okay? I'm not saying it's a hoax, or I just think that there's a lot of things that people want to that advertise us for like good health, living a long time, and they use like buzzwords to make us feel like we need something to like live a full and healthy life. And I think a lot of that is like bullshit. I don't think that's what we need to be happy. Like there's not enough green powder in the world to make you healthy or happy or fulfilled as a person. It's just like marketing, bro. So
Yeah.
discontinued is like buying into marketing without doing our own research.
I mean, period. With anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean with anything.
With anything. including people.
What's their marketing? No,
Do your
what's
research.
their PR? Like, some people have a PR person in their head and they're marketing what they want to market. And it's like, you know what? Let me do my research and due diligence, which is let this person observe how this person actually is.
Exactly. Discontinued, rushing into any relationships and limerence. So if you don't know what limerence is, it's basically just like being so smitten kid by somebody to the point where you are Jalulu, where you're just like, this is my person. You're just so infatuated with somebody that you literally make up things about them that are not true.
Yeah.
All right. If this happens to you, been there, done that. I've conquered that demon though. Like I it's the lover girl in me. I just like really want to send it home. I'm like, this person's my soulmate. No, he's not. No, he's not, baby girl. Actually, you made all of that up in your head. So just remember to take it easy when you like somebody. I think like the best rule of thumb is just like taking your time to really get to know them, assess like how they are in different situations. Now, oh my God, I like to take my time. I need to know how we're going to respond to conflict, how we're going to respond to like a situation in my life where like maybe things don't go as planned, how you're going to respond to when I say no to things that you want to do, right? Because like I think it's all good when two people are on the same page, but the second you start switching it up, you don't know how the other person's going to respond. I think that's like a big one for me. Let's see, when people don't start getting what they want, not out of me making shit not what they want, but out of like what's for my best interest and truly being looking out for my best interest when getting to know somebody is when I have noticed the most pullback from people, or the opposite, where it's like somebody's like, oh, okay, like let's find middle ground. And I'm like, that's a new one, you know?
That's really excellent advice. Honestly, I would say like the limrus thing. I had such a hard time with this, and I honestly think it is because some dude would say something to me and it would like light up all like my dopamine receptors, and I would black the fuck out and not listen to anything they said after that. So I'd come away
Yeah.
from a date and a guy would be like, "You're the most amazing girl I've ever met," and they actually would say that, and they would say, "You're the most amazing girl I ever met, but I don't see myself dating you." I blacked out. I didn't even hear that part. So it was really, I fucking forgot that part. Like, my brain didn't even register that shit. All I heard was, "I'm the best person they've ever met." And
Yeah.
because I didn't
Yeah.
listen to the second half of the sentence, I was just in Delulu land.
Because you're like, if I'm the best person they've ever met, they'll eventually want to be with me. You know what I mean?
And babes, I'll tell you that they're coming back around. Okay, and being with me is a relative term, but you know, it's still people in the DMs, the DMs. But yeah, another thing. But the thing that you said, that I was like, oh, that really resonates. Is like who is a person when you tell them no? You know, because I agree that I think also we're both kind of glow with the flow. We are glowing, but like go with the flow girlies. So like for me, I don't have to tell someone no that often because I'm usually like a pretty like chill, go with the flow type of person. But yeah, I think people do kind of change and when you tell them no. So I think that is a
100%.
good I think that's another thing where like I don't know, I sometimes like I know I'm like overly cautious, but like you know, I don't know if I even want to bring this up, but like, you know how JoJo Siwa recently was like, "I'm looking to have kids in the next 2 years."
I had not known that, but
Okay,
that is.
so she's a young woman, and she just said that like, "Oh, like I'm looking for someone who wants to have kids because I'm going to be ready to have kids in about 2 years." And in my mind, I was like, "You shouldn't have." Like, I was like, "You're not going to know the person long enough to have kids in 2 years." You know?
How will you
How
know?
will you
How will you
know?
know? Yeah.
Because I honestly think that sometimes you can't put like there's a lot of tough situations in life that just don't come up in like the first 2 years, and like I mean you can always I don't know, like I just feel like sometimes you don't know who someone really is until something like there's like difficult life situations. And like honestly, I think
Yeah.
you giving the advice of like seeing how someone is when you tell them no, and then also like giving yourself permission to tell someone no, and like hold it standing on business and saying no because I don't want to do something would probably help people out in the long run.
Yeah. And then just like really taking your time at the end of the day, I think like obviously if you can find somebody that's willing to communicate with you, you know what I mean? Willing to put in the effort to really try to make things work, then you're starting at the right path. But you can have a good connection with somebody and not be compatible with them, unfortunately. And that's just like, it is what it is. And regardless of how good that connection is, it's just never gonna math fully right. And I see that with a lot of people's like parents when they're like, oh, my parents like really loved each other, but it was like super toxic. It was because they probably had a really awesome connection, but these people were never fundamentally compatible to like grow together, to live together. And I think that you can tell in a lot of relationships, if you hear your friends talk about their relationships at the start of them and they are pointing things out that that other person isn't necessarily willing to change up in the beginning or work through in the beginning, that's going to be the same thing they're arguing about in like 3-4 years and probably will end their relationship someday. So everything kind of already plays out at the beginning, and it's just about like how you troubleshoot and how realistic you are with yourself about, is this going to be something worth investing my time into that I feel like will work. You know, I think for me right now, it's more about that than just like finding a really good connection with somebody, because I have found so many good connections with people. And I think that's been my downfall, where I was like, I can vibe with somebody to the fullest extent, but I'm also like a really big like empath. Like I just really care for people. So I realized, okay, if a connection is something you can grow and you can foster, what I'm really looking for here is like, am I going to be able to grow with somebody and be compatible with somebody? Because anytime I can try to grow that connection. And if that connection doesn't grow, then it's honestly kind of easier to cut that off, because then the connection isn't that great to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to be smarter.
I mean,
I don't have a lot of time.
I know,
so
right?
It's like, don't waste my time.
We don't have time. We're busy. Business women.
We're trying. We're trying to grow.
Manifestation.
For real. Yeah.
Those are all mine, baby. I guess the last one, I'm discontinuing. It's so interesting because, like, I don't know why, but like sometimes I feel like I see things that I went through when I was like 18. But this is like such a random one. But like collecting non-collectibles. I'm seeing right now with like Stanley cups, where people are like collecting a bunch of like colorways and like for resale value. And I'm just like, you know what? I did that with Lululemon. And let me tell you, that shit was hot when I bought it. I was really good about picking out popular colorways, right? And I was flipping Lululemon. Okay, let me tell you now, those aren't worth anything. Okay, no. It's like Beanie Babies, babes. Like Beanie Babies at one point, they were so fucking hot, you know. But then it kind of like fizzles out. So maybe not stock up on non-collectible items because you really want a certain colorway, because that's not really conscious consumerism. But you know, that's just something I thought of.
That's a very random thought
I
end
don't know.
with, but like I'm with it. I had never necessarily thought about that or collected anything other than like troll dolls. So
We love that. Do
Yeah.
it for the love of the game, not that it has future value, because things that are made in like millions and bajillions of things, it's gonna be really hard to like say this has value later. Not, it's not a good market. Booms and busts in a I'm an economics major. There's booms and busts in markets. A lot of those markets bust out.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
well,
babes,
that's all we got today.
Hope you liked the economic lesson. Just a little.
As always, please go subscribe, go tell a friend about our podcast, and then you can follow us on Instagram at things4 you're concerned. I'm at Berenice DSM.
I'm at Ella Tutor. Like always, send it to a friend, rate, review. It helps us out a lot, and we'll see you here next week. Okay,